was, I'm pretty sure, Bill, that you were raised Roman Catholic. How did you react to news this week that Jesse has been recognized as the church's first self-molesting altar man?
I actually saw that. It was on his business card before he was actually recognized as one.
Yeah.
That's what happens when
Jesse,
you quit smoking.
Were you excited by the honor? Are you going to go to the Vatican or what?
Well, I'd like to answer your question with a question. How is your cookbook coming along of recipes for eating poor people?
You know, it's funny that you mentioned the consumption of people. A dude who was conceived in a moment of profound ooziness by two members of the Manson family whose advanced gonorrhea kept them from participating in the Sharon Tate murder.
Oh, that was a pretty good one. Guy who looks like a 12-year-old boy CEO of a corporation that makes smallpox blankets.
That was all right. I would expect better from a dude who regularly submits hyper-earnest poetry to the New Yorker, lamenting the loss of his foreskin under the pen name Lily White Lefebvre.
Wow, you must have come up with that guy who visits the Brooks Brothers outlet more than he does his own invalid grandmother.
You must have written that joke the same summer that you grew 20 inches and spent countless hours teary before a mirror, demanding of God by way of your own reflection and therefore of yourself by way of God. If you love me so much, why'd you make me like this?
I don't have to sit here and take this from a guy who owns more martini glasses than he has close friends.
That's charming from a dude who 1 year for Christmas in the 1980s received 8 copies of Leo the Late Bloomer from various uncoordinated relatives.
I know why you're acting like this, and that's because your father used to bring you to work to watch him fire people.
That is ultra charming to hear from a creature from the Caucasian Lagoon whose family motto is smell my fingers and whose Girl Scout cookie buying patterns may or may not be tracked by state and local authorities.
Just because you look like the product of what would happen if David Spade had sex with the movie Dead Poet Society.
Keep it coming, dude who did stand-in work for the Saddles and True Grit.
Listen to me, guy who once fired a housekeeper for making eye contact.
That's incredibly charming from a guy who on his honeymoon said to his wife, I think you only like me because I make you laugh. And she said, hey. And he said, what? She said, hey. And he said, what? And she said, I love you for who you are. And he thought, but I don't know who I am. But what he said was, I've just been hurt so much in the past.
That's very perceptive about women, considering that you have a collection of panties in your racquetball club locker.
You would know a thing or two about trash, having come of age playing cigarette butt hunter atop a Con Ed landfill.
I should have known that you'd be this clever, given that you have a look that harkens back to a resident surgeon who proposes medical experimentation on homeless people.
It's that kind of laceration that I would expect from a man who wasted his 20s walking around in dark sunglasses because people just don't get it, man.
Look, hey, isn't your DeLorean double parked in a handicap space?
Yeah, that's the kind of crap that I would expect from a guy who seems very dépopulé, but actually spends a lot of time at the Alliance Française explaining to women from Paris that the American middle class's only secret is its own gray misery.
Oh, dear. Well, why don't you go back to your wine cellar that is bigger than most Nicaraguan government buildings?
We're not done here, Joyce. But Mr. Levy, I'm told we're out of time.
Really? That's hard to believe.
Wow, it is. It's a joy.
Man.
It's a joy.
Well, it's good to see we got nothing wrong in the first half of the show, I guess.
This is like O'Reilly and
facts.
Geraldo times a million.
Yeah.
In case anyone doubted that this was the news.